Welcome to Season 7 of CX in the Wild. We're happy to have you back on the adventure with us again.
Let's start out with who you are and what you do.
Dennis, thank you so much for having me at this great conference and taking a few minutes to spend some time with me today. So I'm Vince Trotter. I'm part of the client success team at National Debt Relief, a debt relief provider for the United States. Incredible place to work, a credible family atmosphere, and a job that I just love coming to every single day. It's very different than your traditional contact center that's handling billing questions or, hey, my phone bill's a little bit higher this month, et cetera. There's a lot of intricacies because we're dealing with real dollars, we're dealing with creditors and things of that nature. So there's a bit of a skill to really going through these phone calls with a plan to help our clients get out of debt. So I've been with National Debt Relief now almost 5 years. I originally ran the quality assurance part of the organization, which is how I started coming to CCW. I was really looking for a speech analytics platform. Was able to find that here. And now, this has grown exponentially over the years.
This show, I remember coming here, right? Because they held the COVID show, even though, and it was like
Ghost Town.
And now it feels like we're in like a major Vegas show.
They have come back incredibly. And it's great to see. And I do think that this is the leading contact center conference.
I'm going to agree with you. And I work and represent a lot of different shows, but nothing quite compares to this.
It's so well run.
It is.
The schedules, finding the rooms, the lunch, the food is good. I've heard compliments all over the place.
I had a vegan salad yesterday.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, considering I don't really eat vegan that much.
The awards ceremony, some incredible winners. It's just been a great week. I think there's a really good buzz about it. I no doubt next year is going to be bigger because this was a really good one.
Yeah, this is a great show. So Vince, since I have you, and I want to talk a little bit, because in your call centers, as you just mentioned, there is a little bit of a more complex, long-term.
Yeah.
Your agents have to be super smart. Not a lot of calling to reset your passwords, I imagine.
No, not too much calling to reset the password. They do lose them here and there for our portals and things of that nature. But I think if, just to go back to your question about the agents, I think we do a great job of recruiting the right person. And it's really important because we're a business that's built on care. We're in a position where we can go a little bit above and beyond and make sure that we're caring for our clients. So we definitely have to find the person that fits that niche. It's from the top down too. Our owners, you hear everywhere you go, we're a family, this is great culture, et cetera, right? The owners really infiltrate that through the entire business. And that makes us want to make sure that we continue to bring the right people in so we can have those great experiences, great culture. And then word of mouth, of course, helps the business. So throughout the world, I think we've done a really nice job of hiring the right people. And our attrition rates, because we're doing a good job of bringing those right people in, are the lowest probably in the industry.
I wonder how much of that has to do with your great culture and the support you give people, but also your agents. It seems to me like I'm just guessing here, but there'd be a lot of training and a lot of investment to even get good as an agent. Like you can't just take somebody and ramp them up in a weekend, can you?
No, and it's something we had to figure out on the fly, and it's another thing that we kind of figured out here at CCW probably, I think 2 years ago now, right? Since our training used to take us 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, I can
super long onboarding, stressful at times because you're just sitting in a chair the whole time, right? You're not talking to any clients, you're trying to learn, and then you go on the job and you're like, what the hell do I do now? Because I got these calls, I got somebody in my ear and I can't type and work at the same time, right? So, 5 to 6 weeks, we were able to cut that down. We're at 4 weeks solid now, and we utilize SimTrain, which I think is a great training platform where you're able to build these models and it scores them out where I can have a conversation during training without talking to a real live customer. It feels like one. So I get to kind of walk and learn to ride a bike and chew gum all at the same time. So that way when I hit the floor, I'm like, oh no, I'm super stressed out. What am I going to do? It's been very beneficial. Our speed of competency has come down by months with the reduction in training time. It's been incredible. We're just continuing to build more and more models within SimTrain. It's been super helpful.
More and more of these tools are going to be in place. So you have a unique perspective. You have a higher bar for training than most. You have been able to establish some retention. In some ways, you're like in that gap between like patient care and consumer experience. You're like, these are sensitive matters that they tug at the heart, but they target the emotions all over the place, and you're in the thick of that. What do you think is important for CXers to know about your work? What insights can you bring to the audience?
I think it's, I touched a little bit on the beginning, is how the owners of our business really care. And I think it's continuing to bring in great people that have great experience within the CX and CS world, but making sure that they're going to fit in the culture. I think there's a lot of, when you're hiring wherever you're at, there's a lot of great people these days, but you have to hire to fit the culture as well. Because when you want that to work its way all the way down to your agents, and then from the agents into your clients, it's super important that that same message is shared across the board.
What markets do you service? Is it mostly the U.S. or?
Yeah, so we're only in the U.S. and it's credit cards or personal debt.
And do you have agents? Are they all domestic or are they onshore, nearshore?
Yep.
How do you staff for agents that have such an important? They need to have contextual relevance to the U.S. struggles.
So
right?
nowadays it's rather difficult, right? Because there's so many call center companies out there that can help you with your staffing if you need it. We're in a great position where there's growth. So we are always staffing. We're looking for always different ways to staff, et cetera. So we have onshore centers, which are our own. We also have some nearshore centers. But what we've done, even with the nearshore centers, is we've infiltrated that kind of with the same mottos and messages as all of our internal stuff. I think we spend a little bit more dollars on making sure that even the nearshore places feel like home. They feel like it's completely national debt relief and all that.
I don't know. I feel like now that I think about it, if I was struggling, because I have in the past, I'm not the best money manager, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I think in the past, I wonder how I would have felt if someone outside of the United States was helping me with my debt situation. I can't help but think there might be like a little bit of anonymity, or like, I almost wonder if I would feel more comfortable talking to someone who's not going to see me in the grocery store. I don't know.
So you're saying you would prefer it?
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting way to look at it. I've actually never thought of it that way. I've always thought about it the inverse, but I think it's important just to care and to teach and to learn and make sure that everybody understands finance, credit cards, all of that. So when we're having these conversations, the trust factor is built between the agent and the client, and the relationship has continued to be built. So we have a nice relationship.
In our last few minutes, what are your favorite things at the show, and what are you looking at in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, everything's been great, and there's quite a few new things, right? SimTrain is just continuing to level up and bring new features to training, etc. I've seen some of these, like the Cresta booth is right in front of us. I've seen them grow up over the last 5 years from just being able to kind of look at chats. I was just looking at their tool. Now they have the entire life cycle for QA, for phones, etc. All the phone calls. It's been great to see.
What a booth.
Some of these booths are wild. I don't even know, how do you architecture one of these to get them mailed here?
I was just asking the team here, because we're at the OP360 booth. This thing, I'm like, just in between shows, I was like, hey, this must have been really like challenging to set up.
And expensive.
And she was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but these booths are crazy. What I like is, I think what's good for all the vendors that are here is competition. Because competition is good for all of us that are on the end user side, because it's just going to have them keep leveling up and building stronger and better platforms. That's only going to help us work with the agent and our centers better. So I love to see it. We got some really good numbers about the conference this year. 50% buyer, 50% seller, which is beautiful to see.
So many conferences are struggling. I hear it all over the world. People are struggling. This does seem to be the premier, I'll say, U.S. show where you do get, at the level of magnitude, the thought leaders and the content. Like, there's a reason for buyers and to come here as opposed to just exhibitors.
Well, even the other way, right? Like the exhibitors, they don't want to spend all that money to be an exhibitor if there's not going to be that many buyers, right? So I think it's a beautiful thing. I would love to see next year when I walk into that board meeting that it's 55% buyer and 45% seller. I think that'd be a huge bonus to everybody.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
What do you think people should be on the watch out for next year? Like, if you're an expert in the industry, you got to be saying, hey, I might just wait another year on this or that.
Yeah. I think the big one this year is the real time, right? The real time and the agent assist. I think that's going to be the hot topic here for the next maybe 2 to 5 years. You're hearing all the generative AI and things of that nature, but the real time and the agent assist is where it's going to go, because it's going to shorten phone calls, it's going to shorten training time, and it's going to help the agents to make less mistakes, especially in compliant environments such as ours.
When do you think agent assist is really going to happen?
Well, I mean, if you walk up and down this floor here, you would think it's already happened, which I think it has. I think there are some companies here that are doing it well, but we need to learn a little bit more as an industry and how to implement it, how to spin it up, and make sure the agents are all using it appropriately.
Fair enough. Well, Vince, is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap up? I feel like I've been interrogating you.
Well, it's kind of your job, no?
Yeah.
It's okay.
But if is there anything you want to bring up or something on your mind?
Well, what
to
was your
share
favorite
voice?
part?
I haven't had a chance to see the show. I've been sitting on this couch podcasting, and my flight was canceled on the way in, so I missed a day.
Oh, no.
So I've been backed up and then sitting here. But my favorite part, I think, is the conversations. But the most interesting conversation I had was someone talking to me about AI, but they said, this is all great, but what about when the customers come with their own AI augmentation?
That's another great question. They're just going to have Siri sitting on their kitchen table calling customers. That's interesting.
It's true. My children they have the same birthday in July, so I'm here, but then I'm going to take my family on vacation. And this vacation, I'm not kidding you, Vince. Here's what I did. My wife usually is the travel agent. She dicks all this stuff, yada, yada. And it's a complex task to orchestrate 7 people, hotel rooms, yada, yada. Yeah. And our children this year, for their birthdays, they asked to bring their significant others. My daughter's bringing her boyfriend. My son's bringing his girlfriend. I said to my wife, let's just wait. Just wait a second. I brought them all into my computer. I said, ChatGPT, this couple is this age. Give me the top 10 things. Yeah. They picked them. And then I went to everybody in the room. So give me your top 3 things. And then I just said, ChatGPT, give us an itinerary so that everyone's happy. And it just popped it out. That's
great.
Me with AI. Now, when I go to the resort or the accommodations, I'm so much more well-informed.
Did you get the lottery numbers from ChatGPT to pay for this vacation?
Bro, I didn't even know you could get. Is that in the new update?
Yeah, you win all the time. It's crazy.
See, that's why you're the expert on the show. But so I really think that AI as a tool to help consumers is going to be an interesting consumer augmented AI in the call center. It's going to be an interesting discussion.
I mean, there's platforms out here that take phone calls, and it sounds like a human being. It's incredible stuff. Can't wait to see where it goes. I think we're always going to need agents.
Yeah, of course.
Agents are never going anywhere.
The idea that you could run a company or a business without humans is preposterous.
It's wild. I know there's fear at places like McDonald's or Starbucks, right, where they replace them with the machines, but customer service, especially in our business and our industry, it's not going anywhere. So it's only going to help. It's only going to help our agents get better.
I was on the McDonald's team when we rolled out those new ways to engage. Sure. Yeah. There's still people working at McDonald's.
Exactly. And then they're paying for the technology on top of it, right? So, I think there is a little bit of fear, right? Especially when you're a frontline agent of all these platforms and tools are going to take jobs, when in reality it's not. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to start getting smarter about feeding the right calls to the right agents to make them more successful. And it's going to help them get smarter and just, level up a lot faster. So I'm very excited for everything that's to come.
What would you say is the number one place that call centers should invest in 2025?
It's got to be AI.
What kind of AI?
In whatever kind of capacity you can, whether it is being able to look at 100% of your phone calls at once, right? So that was the hot topic a few years ago. But I know there's plenty of people here that are still shopping for that because we're still doing QA in a manual process, right? So if you haven't leveled up, you're not looking at 100% of your phone calls. Using a company like Observe or Acressa or something like that, that's got to be your number one. And then you can start building on top of that and start using the real time and the agent assist and all that. And then you can start getting even sexier, right, with some of the voice bots, chat bots, and things of that nature.
All right, Vince, thank you so much for stopping in on CX in the Wild. I am glad we finally got a chance to sit down and have a conversation.
Absolutely, Dennis. We are in the wild. This is a fun show.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like to access other podcasts, YouTube videos, or join Dennis on other adventures around the world, be sure to connect with us at www.globalvoiceofcx.com. Until next time, stay curious.